Hey there, this is Mike Lynn. Today I'm going to talk about the iPhone 8 versus the iPhone 12 Pro. So when the iPhone 10 first came out a couple years ago, I had the iPhone 6s. That's the phone that I had, and I was all excited about the new form factor, no home button, and I got the iPhone 10. But you know what? After a week or two, I decided I didn't want it. I returned it, and I got the iPhone 8, which is the phone I had just about 2 weeks ago. And a couple of the reasons why were, I just couldn't get used to not having the home button, which is what I was so used to for a long time. So I enjoyed pushing the home button to get my icons back on the screen. Also, I was having some trouble with Face ID at the time. It didn't work when the phone was mounted in my car, which was more than an arm's length away. So I was getting frustrated there. I work at a desk, so when the phone was on my desk, the Face ID wouldn't work unless I picked up the phone. Whereas Touch ID, you just kind of put your thumb on the home button and it would open up your home screen. So for those reasons, I held on to having the home button. I had the iPhone 8 for a while. And then, there's been iterations with the iPhone 11. Earlier this year, the iPhone SE came out, and that had the home button, and I got pretty excited. I thought, hey, maybe it's time for an upgrade because my iPhone 8 was getting slow. But with the iPhone 12 announcement coming out a couple months later, I figured I'd hold out. And when the 12 did come out, I said, you know what? I think it's time to make a change. So my iPhone 8 was getting slow. AT&T was having a great deal on trade-ins, and that's my carrier. And so I thought it was time to get on the bandwagon. I think the button is going to go away in a couple years, and it's time to just get with the times, go with what the future is going to be. So I upgraded to the iPhone 12. Actually, this is a 12 Pro, and I was deciding between the 12 and 12 Pro. I decided to get the Pro because it does have a better camera. It's got a LIDAR camera on the back, which can see what's going on at nighttime. There's a lot of YouTube videos out there about comparing the 12 and 12 Pro. This is not one of those. I'm just here to talk about the reasons why I switched from an 8 to the 12 and the differences, the pluses, the minuses, and whether I thought it was a good move. So let's get with it. So first, in terms of transferring your data from the old phone to the new phone. So I haven't done this in about 3 years, but Apple's apparently got some method where you put the two phones close together and they will talk to each other and transfer data. And that didn't work for me. I actually tried it about 3 times and I always got some sort of fail message. So fortunately, I have been backing up my information to iCloud, so it was pretty simple. With the new phone, I just restored the backup from iCloud. Well, first I had to create a most recent backup on iCloud, so I did a backup now on my old phone, and then when that was done, I did a restore from backup on the new phone, and I was up and running within, I don't know, probably 15 or 20 minutes. So that worked pretty well. What was a pain about that was that even though all the apps did come over to the new phone, I had to log into each app individually, and I'm not sure if that's going to happen if you do a direct transfer from your old phone, but I had to log into each app individually. Now, fortunately, the Face ID works lightning fast. It's really, really fast, and it works really well. So you train your face to the phone, and it recognizes it almost instantly. So when it needs to log in, just basically look at the phone. I use a password manager called LastPass, so it would open LastPass, it would pull in the password off there, and the whole thing would happen in basically 1 or 2 seconds. It actually got pretty fun logging into all these different apps to make sure that I don't need to log in at the moment I use the app. So that was really quick. And you might be thinking, well, nowadays a lot of people are wearing masks when you're outside. When you're wearing a mask, what are you going to do with Face ID? And actually there is some hack that I found on the internet that if you can train an alternate face in addition to your normal face. And so you can train an alternate face and you kind of put the mask on half of your face. And when I do that, I get about a 50 to 75% success rate on trying to unlock my phone with Face ID wearing a mask. So you can use Face ID with a mask. It's a little bit tricky, but it does work. So it'd be great if Apple could let you actually train it with the mask on over your mouth and nose, but they haven't done that yet. So it was relatively straightforward to get the information on the new phone. So now comparing the two, first let's look at the most obvious, which is the size. So here's a comparison of the two phone sizes. So probably can't see much of a difference, here on the camera, but in your hand it's definitely noticeable. It didn't bother me going to the bigger phone. I actually thought it was kind of nice, but then picking up my old phone again, it's like, oh, this is really small. If size is a big issue, there is a 12 mini, which actually is physically smaller than the iPhone 8, but it does have a larger screen because the screen is the entire surface of the phone. So the mini is the same as the iPhone 12, except it's just physically smaller. So people who have smaller hands or want a smaller phone, you do have that choice now. So a couple other things. So what I like about the new phone, like I mentioned, it's the Face ID works great. So that's one thing that I didn't like about the 10. Now, one thing they have improved on the 12, at least the 12 Pro, is that the Face ID works from farther away. So one of my frustrations with the 10 is that when my phone was mounted in my car, more than an arm's length away, the Face ID wouldn't work, and I would have to pick it up and move it close to my face. That's been fixed. So, or I shouldn't say fixed, but it's been improved on. So when the phone is mounted in my car, it does unlock. So that's great. There is a magnet. So I use a magnet mount in my car, and so I've been putting the metal plates between my phone and the case. Now, you may have heard that there's a technology called Magsafe in the iPhone 12s, and Magsafe, there's a magnet built into the phone, so you can buy Apple cases, or you can buy the Apple Wallet that just clips onto the back with using a magnet. So the magnet in this phone does work on the mount in the car. However, it's not as strong as just having a metal plate, so that's one thing to be aware of. When I put a clear plastic case on here, the magnet is too weak. When I hit a bump in my car, the phone falls off the mount. So beware of that. If you want to continue to mount it with a magnetic mount, you can either get one of the cases that has the magnet built into the case, or you can just continue to put the metal plates on your case or in between your phone and your case. Another thing that I like about the phone, and one of the reasons I bought it, is that the camera in here is awesome. A lot of people are using these cameras to replace their carry-around SLRs or their larger cameras. I like to take pictures. I don't necessarily like bringing my camera around. So the camera built into the iPhone 12 is excellent. It can account for really tricky lighting scenarios. If you take a picture of a person or a building and the sun is directly behind them, the camera knows to brighten the face, and it does some sort of computer calculations, and that's something that I can't even do with my SLR or my mirrorless camera. So that's all built into the phone, and I really like that. The camera also has 3 different lenses, so you can see them right there. Gotta get my face out of the way for the focus, but it's got a regular lens, it's got a telephoto lens, and it's got a wide angle lens. I love the wide angle lens because I take a lot of pictures of buildings, and sometimes you're really close to a building, you can't get the whole building in your frame. I used to use the Moment case and a Moment lens that would actually clip onto the case, and I had the wide angle lens, but I don't need that anymore because the wide angle lens is built into the new phone. So that's an excellent feature. I love that. The LIDAR scanner in here is something that is used to improve accuracy. So you can use this to take pictures in low light. It helps with the focusing. You can use it to build a floor plan of a room. I haven't tried it for that yet, but apparently there's apps that can do that. It can also do this cool trick where you can measure someone's height with pretty good accuracy. I think it's within a ½ an inch. So that's pretty cool. I think that's with the LiDAR scanner that's built into the iPhone 12 Pro. So a couple of things I don't like about the new phone, or things that just are going to take getting used to. So I liked having the home button before. Now there is no home button. But one thing that is different about the Touch ID versus Face ID is that when you had Touch ID, when you opened the phone, it would go straight to the home screen. And so you put your thumb on it, and I'm going to lock it again. You put your thumb on it, and it opens straight to the home screen. Face ID doesn't do that, and I didn't know that until I had it for a couple days. That so if you've got your phone locked, you turn it on, you look at it, and you can see it's unlocked because there's an unlock icon right there. But it doesn't go to the home screen. In order to go to the home screen, you gotta flick up. Oops. You gotta flick up to go to the home screen. Apparently there is no way to look at your phone and have it go straight to the home screen. That's just, I don't know, some security thing that Apple built in. So I've Googled, tried to find the answer. Doesn't seem to be able to do that. So there is an extra gesture you need to do. You got to look at your phone and then you got to swipe up to get your home screen. Like before, it's inconvenient when your phone is on a desk. So I work at a desk all day. If I want to unlock my phone, I do have to pick it up, I do have to look at it, and then I have to swipe up. Whereas before, I just put my hand over there, put my thumb on the button, and I get my home screen right there. Getting used to the gestures. So, on the old phone, if you want to get your control center, it's about flicking up from the bottom, and now the difference is that you flick down from the top corner. So it's not a problem, just things getting used to. The first day or so, if you switch over, you'll notice, when you want to go to the home screen, you're pushing on the bottom of the phone and nothing happens because there's no button there. But then you just realize, okay, your thumb is down there, just flick it up and you can get to what you want to get to. So just a couple things that I'm sure over the next couple weeks I'll get used to it, and I'm pretty sure before I know it, I'll be totally fine, and I won't miss the button at all. So in conclusion, I am very happy with the switch over, especially with the AT&T bonus that they had. I could basically get this phone for almost free. You could get a free iPhone 12. I opted for larger memory and the Pro model, so I am paying a little bit per month, but it's a great deal. I feel like now I've got the fastest phone. My old phone was just getting really slow, and I am happy with the switch. I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions about converting over from the iPhone 8 or the 6 or any other iteration of the iPhone that had a home button to the new versions that use Face ID, just let me know or leave a comment below, and I will get back to you. Hope this was helpful. Thanks.